Let's go with... What are you doing over here? Come on. The Stereo Integrity TM65 Mark IV. At $300 a pair and 150 watts RMS. This is an SQ speaker and the first SQ speaker I have ever tested. And I mean true SQ. Low distortion, mid-bass. Let's take a look at the data. So in order to limit the low-end distortion on this speaker, I set the high-pass crossover at 50 hertz. 50 hertz. That means this speaker plays fairly well at volume. That means this speaker plays fairly well at volume from 80 hertz all the way up to, I'd say, about 2800 hertz. Frequency response for this speaker is fairly flat for an SQ speaker, dedicated mid-bass, but you could probably cross it over with a tweeter at about 2500 hertz, and I think you'd be all right. There is a very narrow dip here, which this narrow dip, if I have explained it or reviewed any speakers that had this narrow dip previously, I apologize. This narrow dip may or may not be audible. But if you wanted to get rid of this and use this as a dedicated mid-bass and cross the thing over with a low pass of anywhere from 600 to 800 hertz, this thing would be mwah for a mid-bass speaker. Looking at this speaker at 90 decibels, so this is an SQ speaker, 90 decibels. Looking at distortion at 90 decibels, this motherfucker is under 1% in the mid-bass region at 90 decibels. Less than 1%, that's so crazy. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Bringing it up to 100 watts. Now, 100 watts, keep in mind, this is an SQ speaker. I have a hard time getting it up to 110 decibels, but it got really close. I'd say about 105 decibels at 100 watts. Distortion is still hovering right around 2%. 2% distortion at 105 decibels. Yeah. Bringing it up to the RMS value of 150 watts, distortion does not creep above 5%, except for that big dip in the response. And you could probably get away with crossing it over at about 70 hertz on the high pass. And I think you'd get away with getting 5% distortion at, let's say, yeah, there's 108 decibels. Okay, so 5%, 108 decibels, that is bananas for a speaker. Mid-bass speaker, by the way, mid-bass. So the TM65 Mark IV from Stereo Integrity, it is an SQ speaker. Can you use this as an SPL speaker? Of course you can. Put it in a speaker pod, get 2 of them, double up, get double the output, and then your SPL gem in it, low distortion. This is a great speaker. I like this one. Peace.